welcome to this episode of Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. I am part of Hank Jr. Productions, where I'm documenting life's moments through photography, videography, and now podcasting. And I'm so excited for tonight's guest to have on. I have Bailey Marie. Bailey, how are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. And one of the first questions I always ask is, where are you calling in from?
I'm coming from North Carolina, right outside of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay. And North Carolina for me has been very successful. A lot of great people coming out of North Carolina that I've gotten to talk with, including Paige King Johnson, Danielle Johnson, no relation, and Diamonds and Whiskey. So you're just, North Carolina is just booming with talent. And I think I'm going to have to make my way up there. But how long have you been in North Carolina?
I was born and raised here in North Carolina. I all of my family has spent their entire life in North Carolina, and so I was born here. North Carolina, it's like people here are very real, and it nothing's really fake, and I think that's really cool because whenever we were going out to LA, it's not here. It's like not very busy, and it's not like there's so much rush, and it's more laid back here, which I kind of like, and I think it's a very calming place to be.
Okay. And so you mentioned LA. So do you go out there quite a bit? Is it for the music? Is it for the acting? Because you're both.
Yep, I am both. I actually started going out to LA when I was like first time I went out there was when I was 10, and then I started making trips out there. I started working with Andrew Lane out in LA. And I was going making trips like multiple times a year and sometimes multiple times a month, and it was crazy because that was a pretty long flight. Definitely couldn't drive there, but we were going out there a lot, and then COVID happened, and I have not been out to LA ever since. I think it was 2019, the end of
Mm.
2019, which has like been a while. But I'm actually gonna I think we have a trip planned sometime. We don't have an exact date yet, but I'm super excited because LA is one of my favorite places. So yeah, I'm super excited to go back out there, and so I've been a lot though.
And so what about LA is something that you like out there? You said it's one of your favorite places. What about it?
What am I? Okay, I love as much as I love being, like very relaxed, and I love being all of that. I also really love I guess you could say the city part. I love being around that type of environment, and being near, LA, being downtown LA. I think it's so much fun to go see the places in LA because here in North Carolina it's like the place that I live in. It's very small, and everybody knows everybody. And in LA, I love how there's so many things that you can try and do. It's so like everywhere is like so cool, and same here. But whenever I go to LA, I like love going and looking at new places. There's a place there called City Walk, and I love going to City Walk. I think it's so much fun. But I just love, I guess, being down there in the city part of it, which is
Okay.
a whole different side of me that I don't really get to express here, but I think it's really fun.
Yeah, definitely. And I've been out to LA. It's been a while since I've been out there, and I had to go for work and then also for pleasure. My wife, basically had us go out there because she's a huge Disney fan, and so we've been to Disney World quite a bit. But she had to do Disneyland as well.
Yeah, we went to Universal. I think our first trip there, it was so funny because we went to the Harry Potter ride. It was our first time ever going on the Harry Potter ride, and it was me, my mom, and my dad. And I loved type of rides like that. Like it was like I can't even describe how it was. It was like I guess 3D almost, and you like were in a chair and you were like moving around. And after we got off of it, they were both so sick, and I was like, I want to do it again. And so they were like, No, we are not doing that again because we waited in line for like a long time to do it, and then we did it, and then we get off, and they're like, That was a mistake. I feel like I'm going to die. And I'm like, well, I want to do it again. But let's just say that was a very fun experience. I loved it, but
Yeah, and like I said, not only are we Disney fans in the family, but here in Florida, where I am now, we're about an hour and a half away from Orlando, so we spend a lot of time at Disney, but we also spend time at the Universal Studios here, and they do have the Harry Potter as well down here. So if you ever want to make an easier trip than going all the way out to LA, I'd love to have you down here in Florida. But also, talking about big cities, you were just recently in New York, and it's not the first time, but I'm sure it's always special every time you do it. But you got to play on the Apollo stage. Tell me about that.
So it's kind of funny because the first place I ever really performed, so I started like professionally singing when I was about 10 years old. And the first place that I ever really professionally performed was on the Apollo stage, which was like a big jump from, getting started and then to like going right onto the Apollo stage. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like, I really have to prepare for this. So I go there when I was 10. It was such a cool experience. It was one of my first times being in New York. And it was definitely my first time ever being in front of a crowd like that. And whenever I was there, it was like so much fun. It was very surreal. It was like the coolest thing ever. And then that was in 2018. And then I went back the end of that year again to the Apollo and performed again, which was like, oh my gosh, I got invited back. This is so cool. And then I got invited back another time in 2019, and then COVID hit. And this year, I was there not last week, but the week before, and I was there, and it was like one of their first shows. It might have been their first show ever since COVID, which was really cool because I was like, okay, this I have to do really good to like prove to my younger self that you've gotten better, you've worked hard for this. And so whenever I was there, it was really fun being back there because there were so many fun times that I already had in there, and then being back was just like it never really gets old.
Yeah, definitely not on that stage. I mean, it's definitely an honor to be there. And the first time that you did it, how nervous were you?
The first time I was really nervous because it's crazy because the first time I ever performed there, I was actually running 102 fever. I was so sick.
Hmm.
I was in the ER the night before, and I was out on stage. I had like I think I had it was something I can't even remember what it was, but I was going to the ER the night before. I felt absolutely horrible. I was coughing my head off, and then right when I got on stage, right before I walked on stage, I was like, "Can I have this water?" to the lady beside me, and so I drank a sip of water, and they were like, "Okay, Bailey Marie." And then I walk out, and I'm like, "Okay, you have to make sure you do not cough on this stage because you're going to mess everything up if you cough." So the first time I was really nervous, just because not even the fact that I was singing, the fact that I was sick, and but something really weird that happened the last time I was there is I I was kind of nervous, but I was backstage, but it wasn't like as bad as it normally was. And then I walk on stage and I touch the microphone, and all of my nerves go away. Like I was not nervous at all when I was performing, which was very very weird because you know normally people would be nervous, and I normally was nervous, but when I went out there this last time and I touched the microphone, all of my nerves went away, and I was like, "This is really weird, but this is very fun to do without nerves."
And that's interesting that you say that because, I've talked to other artists who have said something similar. And one of my more recent guests, Brooke Moriber, before she did the music thing, she was out there doing Broadway. And when she was a very little girl, she got to play Cosette on Les Mis. And she described it basically like what you were saying, although she wasn't sick, but she was very nervous. And they actually literally had to push her out there on stage. And then she said, once she was out on stage, she felt as natural as can be.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, that's a weird phenomena. But this last time that you were up there, you sang a cover, Tennessee Whiskey.
You're as sweet as strawberry wine. You're as warm as a glass of brandy. I stay strong on your love all the time.
Why did you choose that song?
I chose that song because I wanted to be completely out of the box. Because, New York, you wouldn't really expect much country there. And so I wanted to be something, here's my mindset. I was like, this could either go really good or it could go really bad. And I'm willing to take the chance. So we get there, and it turns out another person is actually singing Tennessee Whiskey. But so somebody had the same idea as me, um, but I think it went pretty good, and it was honestly just mainly a mindset of, you could be different from singing what everybody else in New York's gonna sing, and so I chose Tennessee Whiskey because nobody really expected it.
Okay, and that's interesting behind that. And one of your YouTube videos where you're singing that, you kind of gave the prelude, "Hey, I'm not old enough to drink. This is not a song based upon my life or anything like that." But tell us, how old are you?
I'm 14.
Okay, and that's so much talent that you have at 14. And when I came across you and saw that, I mean, I recognized that right away, and I just can't wait to see where your career is going to be taken off to.
Thank you.
And so, speaking about covers, I know the first song that you wanted to sing tonight was a cover. So, tell us what you're going to be singing, and we'll love to hear you here on Hank's Corner.
So this song it's called Girl Going Nowhere. And in the industry there's a lot of really supportive people, but then there's some people that, don't really starting off at a very, very young age. There was a lot of people that were like, I don't know if you're good enough for this. So this song really explains it really well on how, you know, kind of the mindset of what the singer's thinking. So I really love this song. So it's called Girl Going Nowhere. Don't waste your life behind that guitar. Make it go, but you won't get far. You're not the first, and won't be the last. And you can tell us all about it when you come crawling back. This road you're on just winds and winds. You're spinning your wheels and wasting your time. When the lights come up and I hear the band, where they say I'd never be is exactly where I am. I hear the crowd, I look around and I can't find one empty chair. Not bad for a girl going nowhere. I get these calls out on the road. I heard your song on my radio. We always said you'd make it big, and I tell all my friends I know you back when. Just don't forget all us little folks when you crash and burn. Remember we told you so. But when the lights come up and I hear the band, where they say I'd never be is exactly where I am. I hear the crowd, I look around and I can't find one empty chair. Not bad for a girl going nowhere. And I need to thank my daddy for that first set of strings, and all those folks who said I wouldn't be anything. It took a whole lot of yes I wills and I don't care. A whole lot of basement dives and county fairs. But when the lights come up and I hear the band, where they say I'll never be is exactly where I am. I hear the crowd. I look around and I can't find one empty chair. Not bad for a girl going nowhere.
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. You just heard Bailey Marie doing her cover of Going Nowhere. And, like I said, I mean, I am blown away by the talent. You're a girl going somewhere. And, if this was The Voice or I was listening to you on the radio, I would never guess that you were as young as you were. But tell me, how did the music and even the acting thing, how did that get started? Whose choice was that? And when did you discover it?
Whenever I've always loved musical theater. So before any of the singing, the acting, any of it, I always loved musical theater, and that was the first thing I really started with. And I really loved, I loved being out on stage. I loved playing a person. I loved always like getting casted a character. I loved playing a character. And so that really opened my eyes to, this acting thing could be really fun and like actually take it seriously. And so I started looking into places to, train me on acting. And so I've been doing acting ever since I was like 7. And acting it's one of those things where it's like, you know um it's a whole lot of no's, but if you get one yes, it'll make your entire life, it'll change your entire life. And so I actually started doing acting before I uh ever really thought about being like trying to do singing as a career. And then once I was, getting more into musical theater, I was like, I really found a love for singing, and whenever I was discovering my love for it, I was like, I think that I can maybe, better my voice into making it something good. And that's when I started working with so many vocal coaches. I continue to work with vocal coaches, and so whenever I got casted to do the Apollo, we were actually in New York, and my mom, she saw that they were having auditions for the Apollo, and she was like, "I'm gonna submit you for this. You're like," and this was when I was just getting started singing. She's like, "I'm gonna submit you for this." Like, and then I was like, "Okay, sure, I'm not gonna get that." And so we never really thought anything about it. And then we got home and we were like, oh my gosh, like I just booked this. And so that was my first really big thing in music. But for acting, it was actually, I I've done, when I was younger, I did a bunch of extra work and different things like that. But whenever it was 2020, I believe, the end of 2020, and um, so I do so many auditions. I've learned so many scripts. It's unbelievable. And there was this one time, me and my mom, we always film our stuff either with a person or it's just me and my mom. And me and my mom, we are really bad about laughing. Like it is so horrible. If me and her are in a room and she's trying to film me, we have to do it like so like 100 times before we get it right because me and her just die laughing. And there was this one time I was singing the national anthem for one of my auditions, and she was like, "Okay, Bailey, come on, go put clothes on. You're gonna film this." And I was like, "Oh, well, thank you, and thank you for the heads up." And so it was a day we filmed me singing the national anthem. She said, "Yeah, it's for a TV show, um, and I'm just gonna submit it and see what happens." And so she submits me, and we're actually leaving to go to Nashville like the next day. And we go to Nashville, completely lose our train of thought about it. Like it completely went over our heads. We never thought about it again. Because again, I do so many auditions like that. And we get back, and my agent is like, "So they're really considering Bailey for this role." And we were like, "Oh my gosh, wait, which one is that?" And then she was like, "This one." I was like, "Oh yeah," and it like comes back to our memory. And then I find out that I booked the role, and it's in Swagger. It's on Apple TV, and the producer is actually Kevin Durant. And that was my first really. I play Marianne in it, and that was my first really, time actually having a character, that is other than an extra. And that's when I it filmed in Virginia, and so I went out to Virginia. It was one of the most coolest things ever because it was like completely different than doing extra work. You know, I had my own trailer, had my own makeup artist, you know, everything, and I was like, this is the dream right here. Like, this is amazing. And after that, you know, I found my talent manager from doing Swagger. And then I got even more auditions than before, which is like, you know, audition after audition. And then I booked another TV series called Staircase, and it's not out yet, so I can't talk too much about it. But that whenever I was filming on that, that one was one of the best times I've ever had in my life. I never wanted to leave. It was so amazing. Like, I could do acting and singing forever. It was so amazing.
Okay, and we'll definitely be looking for a staircase. But the acting and singing going together with the musicals, kind of definitely fits your role. If you had the choice, what musical would you love to be in, and what part would you love to play?
What musical would I love to be in? Um, I've never been asked this before. I've always been asked, you know, what my favorite musical I've been in is, but let me think. I really, I really want to do like maybe High School Musical. I think that one would be cool to do like a
Okay.
High School Musical and Sharpay, obviously. Sharpay, and so probably High School Musical, but there's so many that completely I blank out on. But I would love to do High School Musical.
Okay, and so then to make it a little bit easier, and you've already been asked, so tell us what is the favorite one that you've already done?
My favorite one, probably Beauty and the Beast. So I played LeFou, and that one was really fun because I got to be super stupid on stage, and it was just so much fun. The cast was amazing. I loved it.
So, yeah, Beauty and the Beast is, one of my favorites, if not the favorite. I mean, even my personal profile has the picture of the Beast on, so I definitely love that one. But as far as the music side of it, tell me a little bit about everything that you can do, all the different instruments. Do you write your own songs?
Right? Yeah, I write all of my own songs. I actually started writing all of my own songs when COVID hit. I never really thought about being a songwriter or anything. And then I started sitting down and I started writing a song with a ukulele. Actually, I barely knew a little bit of chords on the ukulele. I had no clue how to play guitar. Like, I didn't know one chord on it, and I didn't even have a guitar. And so I only had a little sunflower ukulele, and I started playing around on it. And I wrote this one song that, you know, now I think absolutely sucks because it was my first song ever that I wrote. And and I wrote it, and then I was like, this is really fun. Like, what if I start singing my own stuff like this? And so that from there, I started writing so much. I started going out to Nashville, writing with different people. I've written with so many amazing songwriters, and along with, you know, writing by myself and then singing my own stuff is really a really cool feeling to do too. So I do write all of my songs, and right now I'm playing the guitar. I've played the guitar for about a year. Um, I play the ukulele. I'm learning to do the drums, and I'm learning to do piano, but I'm like this much on piano. So I'm mainly really focusing on guitar.
Well, you're definitely an all-around star when it comes to that. And one of your songs that you have out is called "Beautifully Broken." You do have a video out, and why don't we go ahead and play that video? And when we come back, let's talk about it.
Fight fire with fire, you will get burned. But I wanna go higher and touch the sun. All I've been through, I wanted to tell you. I'm taking my life and I'm moving on. Now waving my white flag, 'cause I'm strong. This battle has made me a warrior. I'm slaying my demons and losing the feeling. So wake me up when it's all through. I'm beautifully broken, eyes are wide open. I'm shattered within, but I'll take what I get on my own. Beautifully broken, eyes are wide open. I'm shattered within, but I'll take what I get on my own. Beautifully broken, beautifully broken. I'm beautifully broken. I'm beautifully broken. Beautifully broken. Eyes are wide open. Shattered within, but I'll take what I get on my own. I'm beautifully broken. Eyes are wide open. I'm shattered within, but I'll take what I get on my own. Beautifully broken. Beautifully broken. I'm beautifully broken. Beautifully broken.
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. with my special guest, Bailey Marie, and we just watched the video for Beautifully Broken. Tell me a little bit about that song, the backstory to that, and then we'll talk a little bit about the video itself.
The song, a part of the song was actually written like by me like 2 years ago, and I have so many songwriting books with just different parts of songs that I've never really finished. And one of the parts, I think it was actually like the first verse of the song, I had just written in my songwriting books. And I was, I was bored and out of my mind. I was in my room and I didn't have anything to do. So I was going through all of my songwriting books. And I come across that one and I'm like, beautifully broken. This could be really cool. And so I start writing an entire song out of it, 2 years later. And so after that, me and David Ryan here in North Carolina, we finally finished the demo, and then we were in Nashville. I was working with Kent Wells, and we did a full production on it, and that ended up being one of my favorite songs that I've ever written, and I've also ever recorded. So that one was really cool.
All right. And then as far as the video, as a photographer and a videographer, I always love getting the backstory between about that as well. I love to promote those guys. And I believe it was No Fear Photography that
Right.
did the video. Tell me a little bit about them and how you came across them.
So they are like amazing. They're amazing people too. But they were actually finalists on America's Got Talent. And they live here, and we got their information from someone because we saw that they did really amazing videos and also photography. And they were on America's Got Talent. So we were like, I'm sure these people are really good. And so we finally met them, and they were so sweet. They're amazing. Like they don't halfway do things. They go full into it, and which is really good. Because once they and they ask for your opinion and things like that. They don't just like plan it all out for you. They want to make sure you're satisfied with it. And and so when we finally got the video back, the video took about 2 weeks to film, just because we needed to get different locations and things like that and have good weather. But after we got the final product, there was like three I think we could choose from, like three different videos or something. And so they were really amazing. They were really good to work with too, and they're great at what they do.
That's awesome. And, maybe I'll get a chance in the future, who knows, to get to collaborate with them. Cause,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. They do awesome work. But as far as your songwriting again, so tell me a little bit, do you base it on your personal experience? And I know that you don't have as many years as some people, or do you also base it on like things that maybe in the future that you can foresee yourself being in those circumstances, or a combination of both?
Yeah, I actually have many songs that I've written about personal experiences. Those are very, very dear to me whenever I write about personal experiences. Those you can always tell. You can always tell when I write those about my personal experiences because there's just so much emotion going into them. But I also write things about, things other people around me have been through or going through, what I've like read about, what I've heard about. And I also like writing things that you can take different scenarios from the song. It doesn't have to be necessarily one thing. Like say we have a song, one person can take a totally different thing out of it than another person. It's really just what it means to you. I love writing things like that, making people think about it. So yeah, but I definitely have written some songs about personal experiences.
All right. And you also gave me a hint. We talked a little bit offline that you have a song that's going to be coming out. Tell us a little bit about that. And if I can, maybe convince you to sing it here on Hank's Corner.
Right. So yeah, I have a new song that's going to be coming out soon, and I don't want to spoil it too much because I want to keep it surprised because I have changed so much. My songwriting skills and my entire genre of music has kind of changed. And Beautifully Broken was like my main one, that it was like my changing song that everybody heard and were like, oh, she changed. And because before I was singing like this bubblegum pop stuff, but I have a whole list of songs that are going to be coming out soon. And so, a new song that's going to be coming out should, we don't have a release date or anything like that, but it'll be coming out, and I hope you like it. And I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it, but it's good.
And if you don't mind, can we hear a little bit of that song here on Hank's Corner?
Oh, yeah. I'm putting on my flip flops, wearing out my tank tops. I'm soaking up the good vibes, rolling with the high tides. I'm staring at the blue sky, watching all the clouds roll by, roll by. I wanna go day tripping, and I wanna do some high school skipping, some pool dipping, koozie sipping. I wanna do a little day tripping with you, day tripping with you. I wanna be relaxing and hear the waves crashing. I'm dropping all my worries and I'm not in a hurry. I'm ready for the good times, looking for the sunshine. Sunshine. I wanna go day tripping, and I wanna do some high school skipping, some pool dipping, koozie sipping. I wanna do a little day tripping, and I just wanted to drift away. Oh, I just wanted to drift away. Do a little day tripping with you. I wanna go day tripping, and I wanna do some high school skipping, some pool dipping, koozie sipping. I wanna do a little day tripping with you.
And that was Bailey Marie giving us a little sneak peek of her song that's going to be coming out in the near future, Day Trippin'. And I must say, listening to that, you definitely need to come down to Florida now and play it because
Right.
that's something that we can listen to out here almost 12 months out of the year down here. So, yeah, so you basically are been working in the studio and you're going to be having some things coming out. Do you have a rough estimate on when we should start seeing things, and will you be given more sneak peeks on social media?
Oh yeah, I'll definitely be giving more sneak peeks on social media. I'm super active, on Facebook, and I love keeping people interested and letting people know what's going on whenever I'm traveling and things like that. And I should be starting to put some more stuff out pretty soon. I don't have any release dates yet, set in stone, but it should be soon.
All right. So everybody that's watching this here today, if you're not already following Bailey Marie, please do so. I guarantee she is somebody that's going to blow up in the future, and I can't wait to see it happen. So Bailey, I really appreciate you coming on Hank's Corner today, and you're welcome to be a guest anytime.
Well, thank you so much for having me.